guys put in 70, 80, practice sessions between spring OTAs, and are you ready, or is any coach ever ready?
I'll tell you by 7:30. But that's the only way you're ever going to know. I know they're ready to line up against another opponent. That's all you ever really do know. It's all I really ever do know. They're ready to hit and tackle, and they're just ready to play. Whether we're ready, we'll see.
We got you early in camp, and now we get you now. Where has the growth and the development been since we talked to you early in camp?
I think it's a lot of the communication things. Things that you that you think you'll see. It probably helps that you kind of have an idea, and you've been working them a while, so kids are talking. They seem like they feel confident in what we've been doing, and that's probably the biggest thing. Is communication with each other.
Robert mentioned, and Lee a little bit too, that a lot of the concepts that West Virginia has offensively, Penn State does. Has that been helpful for you to be able to go against a lot of the same concepts?
Yeah, I mean, it's formationally is the number one thing. It's signal alignment, assignment technique. that's the progression of a play. That's the things we talk about, and so it obviously helps to be able to show them that and go back and reference those things, from last year, in which they're going to be different. Everybody does. They're going to new year, new wrinkles, but conceptually, to see the numbers and the formations, yeah, it helps.
Potentially, we'll be starting several guys who weren't even here in the spring, safety, corner, whatever. Is that a problem, or are you comfortable with where they're at?
Yeah, I mean, there's I mentioned this, I believe the last press conference was a little bit different approach to the portal side of things this year, and you felt like you had a better evaluation of what you were actually recruiting. And we'll feel better about it. Whether that makes them more ready than not, we'll see. But do feel better about it.
One portal guy you got, Wilson, it seems to have changed maybe the outlook a little bit in the secondary in terms of his physicality, his willingness to strike people and tackle the open field. Are you noticing that amongst the other guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one thing. What you said was willingness. You can coach a guy that's willing. It's kind of hard to change a guy that's not. It could be a lot of things, but if you're not willing to do the things, especially physically, you're asking that guy to do, then it's hard.
Carry over to some of the other guys?
Oh yeah.
Because you have guys like Aubrey Burke stepping up and becoming a leader and things like that, has it kind of made your job a little bit easier in a way throughout this offseason and this year now, because you have maybe more leadership to rely on, even though you did have some?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, I tell them all the time, like, guys, my play count's going to be 0 when after the game. So they have to be the ones that go out together and do it. And so if me or Jeff or Dante or AJ, whoever has to be the leader, that makes the games are really hard, because it's just you're having to do it from in that kind of environment, or even at home it's tough. And so yeah, I mean, it's leadership is playing, and guys gravitate to the best players naturally. And when those guys are playing to what they're capable of and they're talking, yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
How different is the secondary now than this point last year, where when Charles went down, it was a big problem?
Well, I mean, everybody always goes back to when Charles went down. What they tend to forget is, if you look at game 1 to game 2, you had the other one that was out half for a concussion. We lost Aubrey Burks in the first half of that game. We lost Hershey McLaurin in the first half of that game. So it's easy to say when Charles went down. That really kind of just changed how you approach week to week. It's the second week that really got us. This year I don't think that'll be the same type of issue if something like that were to happen. So yeah, it's a little different outlook on that.
I know that you've spent 9 months or longer watching everything that they do to get an idea of what they do. And I'm sure you've studied all of Aller's passes or whatnot. How much do you preoccupy yourself and your staff with the things they might do?
I mean, you have some you have some general ideas based on personnel. You know, it's okay. What are their best 11? What does that look like? Is it a 2 tight end, 1 back? Is it a 2 back, 1 tight end? Is it a 1 back, 1 tight end? You know, you try to you never try to go down that rabbit hole too far, because then you start to chase ghosts a little bit. But you do try to project some things again based on the best 11.
What's your view of their running backs, Singleton?
Good, really good. I mean, we look at the running backs in our league last couple of years, and they're as good. You know, probably maybe a little better. I mean, they're good.
What's your rotation in the secondary? I mean, not necessarily who, but how many? Corner? You talked about 5. Do you play all 5?
Yeah, I mean, we always go into and say there's a it's usually 4 between both positions, corner and safety, and the key evaluation usually with the numbers is who is number 5, based on, are you playing a sub, or you just at corner and safety. So, you're going to rotate 4, but you always have to figure out who the best number 5 is always the toughest part.
I asked Neil, Bruce Feldman had his freaks list. He had 6 of them on there. Most teams get 1 or 2, and they had 6. Is there one guy that you look at Penn State and go, whoa?
44.
44.
Tight end. Good player. Good, big, athletic, fast. Can catch, can make contested catches, can block.
He's not even on Feldman's list.
Yeah.
So you had 7, just going to 7.
Yeah. I mean, I like Bruce, but
Yeah. So 44 is your guy.
yep.
Okay.
I mean, not to take anything away from the rest. I mean, the left tackle's the left tackle.
Right.
The running backs are the running backs. I mean, the quarterback by stature is and some of the receivers, where they're new guys for them. And they're all really good players, but 44, the tight end, he on film, to me, he sticks out because the matchup is against any tight end like that. I go back, I think it was 20 and 21 with Iowa State. Those guys created some issues. Same tight, and both those guys got drafted.
It's funny because you talk to defensive coaches, and they say today if they were a head coach, they would have tight ends in their offense or fullbacks. Mm-hmm. What is it? I know they create extra gaps in the run game, and there's mismatches there. Why is tight ends to spook out defensive coordinators so much?
Well, I mean, usually by formation, you can always ID a run side and a pass side. If you can't ever ID that creates issues, because now their passing strength could be their running strength, while their passing strength to their side of the offense is still really strong. The tight end can create both to that side. It's setting up your screen game with a big body in space, and it's using him in different gap schemes and cross and split flow actions across the ball, with obviously the RPOs and play actions off of that. And you're just gonna, as a defensive coach, if you have a guy that's going to be 6'6", 270 pounds, where are you going to put him? You're going to put him on the defensive end.
Right.
You're not going to put him at the outside linebacker that's got to cover that guy a lot of times. Or your field overhang. You're going to have as much speed and athleticism as you can, but usually not going to be that size. So it just naturally is going to create a matchup that's going to be an issue, based on size and length and height, weight, all those intangibles that go into recruiting good players.
On rotation at will, you play 2 guys 50-50. What are you going to do there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a position you play to you rotate till you feel who's got the hot hand, who's playing the best.
How do you, on defense, how does the noise, the atmosphere, how does that affect defensively? Because we've talked about, offense.
I mean, I would, Penn State's got a lot of tradition. I would like to think that their fans wouldn't hinder their own offense. So I don't think it's as big of an issue as it is for our offense, but hey, if they do, we got to deal with it.
Is there any type of either having it be an advantage for you guys or something even in schematically that you use when you have a quarterback that you're facing that isn't as experienced, even though it's going to be his home stadium? He's not dealt with this either.
Yeah, I mean, you go into it, and the quarterback they had last year really, really created a lot of things for them off of pressure and off of pass rush. I don't really see this kid much different because he's, if you watch enough and you've done enough research, while he's big in stature and he's going to be listed and people are going to see him as a pocket guy. He's sneaky fast. He's sneaky athletic. He's a big guy. He's hard to bring down. And so I don't really see the structure of the offense being much different because he can, he pulled a ball in the spring game on his own read. And to get just like anything else, you get a big guy like that moving downhill. You just hope you can present some things to him in coverage that get him, make him have to work. Make him have to find the route and place the ball to beat you. So
Spend a little time on Prbula too.
yeah, you have to. Yeah, you do.
A little bit different quarterback.
You have to. Very similar to Clifford from last year. Athlete, dual threat guy, can create some things off the rush. And so, yeah, I mean, you got to prepare for both.
Jordan, it's the third time you've seen your since three different schools too. Personnel, head coaches are different preferences. Do you see similarities that are like core to what he likes to do, and how much of his personnel and maybe the personality of each head coach is worth for too?
Yeah, I mean, I think you do, and some subtle things. I think the ability, the biggest difference, Mike, is the ability to recruit and or get tight ends. I think that's something that I go back and I watch the Texas game. They were really, really good at receiver, and so they usually have one really good tight end to where now he has probably, I would say 3 to 5 to his access. So conceptually, there's a lot of the same flavor. How they present it with the different personnel, that obviously makes it look different. You got to defend other sets of plays that go along with that.
And then you go over physical. It sounds like in the preseason. I don't know how much that extends to rushing and hitting the quarterback, but what have you figured out about blitzing and pass rushing from your front that maybe you did not know and you feel better about, or conversely maybe you feel concerned about?
I mean, physicality is something that if you don't do it, it's kind of hard to show up on Saturday and say, all right, we're going to be physical. So it's obviously a point of emphasis from the head coach down that we've made. That's it's really hard to tell the question you ask when you're not going live on your own quarterback. So, but the overall physicality. I mean, I like what we've done as far as making an emphasis where we're at up to this point. But you gotta go out 7:30 and do it. But if you don't train that way, you're never going to get in that mode.
As far as like going into pass rush, blitzing, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to do it. You have to work it the best you can. It's like it ain't no different than tackling. You got to find ways to creatively, tackle. We've probably tackled more than we ever have. You can't go out there and do it every day full speed. Just like when you line up a blitz period against our offense and our quarterbacks, it's the working edges and the twists and all those things that you see are physical. But at the point of contact with the quarterback, you're obviously not going to know that till you get to live game situation.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.